What's up, MRT fam? It's your boy again. I'm here again, late. I was on here late yesterday. A lot of you were on, surprisingly. I know a few of you that were on different time zones, so that accounts for some. But I know that there was actually quite a few of you that were on here from my time zone, which leads me to say, what in the world were you doing up at this time? Sleep issues, insomnia. Anyways, don't be the best peach in the world for someone who likes plums. And I want to give you an example of what I am talking about. I remember one of maybe the two worst. Okay, it's relative, but I won't even say one of the two worst. I'll just say I can remember two of the worst breakups that I ever had. And I remember the one that made me title this video like this. So I met somebody during a time in my life when I was at my worst. And for those of you who don't know my story, which is probably the majority of you who are on this page, because I haven't really gone in depth to talk about my story so much on this page, since this page has been primarily focused on covering reality TV content. The time period that I consider the worst was when I first got my mental health diagnosis: anxiety disorder, depression, panic disorder, and agoraphobia. And it was a really terrible time, which led to me, in fact, spending a couple of weeks in a psychiatric ward, coming out and spending a lot of time doing therapy. For a time, I was seeing a psychiatrist, and I went to a mental health rehabilitation program. So during that time, I was not working. I was not making any money. I found ways to make money, and I'm not trying to say that in a way like I did illegal stuff to make money, but I'm just saying I was not earning any money on the clock. But I'm just very resourceful, so I found other legal ways to make money off the clock. It wasn't a lot of money, but it was enough money to just get me by to an extent and pay my bills and stuff. So I met somebody during that time period. And during that time period, I wouldn't even say that I was looking to find a girlfriend, because who is thinking about that while you're just coming off of having a mental breakdown? I mean, I'm sure there's some people that think about both at the same time. Like, I just want someone to be on the struggle bus with me, and then we just struggle together, but we just love each other while we struggle. But that wasn't me. I always wanted to be someone who's like, I want to at least somewhat have it together for myself before I present myself as a viable option for another human being. That's always how I have felt personally. But I met someone who basically claimed, I don't care where you're at. I don't mind where you're at. I like you just exactly how you are. That was the original thing that I was getting from said person. So I said, you know what? Even though I was not at present seeking out someone to date, I found somebody who accepts my situation, knows about my diagnosis, accepts me for who I am, and is patient enough and understanding and kind enough to basically, because I always believed that that's not where I was going to be forever. I felt like this person caught me at a downtime in my life, but I will be going back up at some point once I get it together. This is, in my early to mid 20s. Hi, I don't know what I was about to say your name, but I don't know what that reads. But hello, somebody from North Korea. The time is 15:37 right now, so that would be 3:37 p.m. We are 1:41 a.m. No, 1:38 a.m. My car clock says 1:41 p.m. a.m., but it's a little ahead. Oh, yeah. So, anyways, what I was saying, I believed that I was going to build myself back up, and I did, and I was. But after this person claimed they accepted me how I am and who I am and where I am, they now started to say, "Oh, you know what? When I was with this other guy, or when I was with these other different boyfriends, they had this, they had a car because I didn't have a car at the time. It was like they had their own house, they had this good job. I'm from Canada, but I live in New York City. I had this good job, and I have, they would spend a certain amount of money on dates to take me out on dates, and they would do this and they would do that." And it started to make me feel inadequate. And I wasn't inadequate, but that's the way that she made me feel by constantly comparing me to these other people. So I started to stretch myself beyond my means in order to try to be this person that she liked. Whether that meant financially. Sometimes it meant financially, like I would buy things that I couldn't really afford and throw them on my credit cards. Oh, you want this? You want your nails done at this expensive nail salon? Done. You want this and you want that. Even she even had things that she wanted me to do. Like she said, she doesn't like the way that I dress at the time. The way that I dressed was kind of crazy. I'm not gonna lie, but it was my style at the time. My style has evolved, but my point is, like, that's just what I liked to dress like at that time. So I remember one time she went to this extent of, we went to this particular store. She had me trying all these different clothes that she liked. She had me come over to her house. I went over to her house, and she was like, "Can you put this and this on?" And I was like, "Sure." So she took the clothes that I had on. Little did I know that this was her plan, to actually take the clothes that I had brought there and throw them in the garbage. She literally threw my clothes I brought to the house in the garbage without me knowing, and told me, "These are better clothes for you anyways, and I like you in these clothes." So whatever. So so I kept those clothes and wore those clothes, and I let it go that she threw my initial clothes, my original clothes that I brought in there, in the garbage. So here we are. I was buying extra things. I was wearing different things. Now, there was things about my personality. "Oh, I don't like this and that about your personality. I want you to act more like this." So, okay, now we've changed the clothes. Now we've changed this. Now I'm doing this. Now I'm acting this way. Now, when I wanted to go on a date with her, she wanted me to have a car. So I was either having to borrow my folks' car, or I was having to rent a car, which was absurdly expensive. Just to have a car for a weekend from our rental place, even back then when I was paying much less than rental cars are now, let's say it was still probably a good $200 to $300 just to have the car for 2-3 days. So there was all these different things that I changed, but I said, you know what? I will do anything for this person to stay with me. That was really, for whatever reason, I guess, low self-esteem at that time. The place that I was coming out of was definitely a big impact on the way that I felt at that time and the things that I was willing to do to hold on to this person. So then I finally reach a point where I'm like, you know what? I've done everything. What are you talking about? My title is Don't Be the Best Peach in the World for Someone Who Likes Plums. That's my title. And then I was just giving an example. So I reached the point where I was like, hey, I succeeded. I did everything. Now I wear the clothes that she likes. I take her to the restaurants that she likes to go to. I live above my means, above and beyond. Like we do these activities that are putting me to the poorhouse. She would even kind of feed me with how to act around her folks. Like it was a lot of things. And for some reason at that time, I didn't see anything wrong with that. Maybe I did. Maybe in the back of my mind, I kind of saw something wrong with that. But I was like, I would rather do all these different things than to actually just be alone. So I still remember this one day. Like it was a normal day. Nothing in particular was happening at that time. It's not like we were fighting. It's not like anything had gone on to change our status or our situation. And she says to me out the blue, she was like, Mark, I've tried to make it work with you. You don't have enough money. I don't like this and this about your personality. I don't like this and this about how you act, the clothes that you wear, this thing about you, that thing about you. She's just kind of listing out all the things that I changed. I actually changed all those things for her. Right? So I'm sitting here saying to myself, I am so confused at this point because you told me you don't like A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P. And I changed every single one of those things in order for you to like me. Then you turned around and listed out things that you told me to change into and said that you're not good enough for me. And that was one of the most crushing blows that I've ever had. But it was one of my best learning experiences, because something I've learned in life is that some of the things that hurt the most are the things that teach you the best. Like when your parents told you when you were little, don't touch the stove because it's hot, and they yell at you or they spank you or whatever. Like, okay, that's cool that they told you and prevented you from doing it temporarily, but maybe you were the kid that was just like, you know what, I have to actually feel that this stove is hot to understand the pain that they were trying to prevent me from. So from that, I felt gutted, because if somebody took me as I was and then just said, I don't like you, yeah, it would still hurt, but I'm like, they don't like me for real. Like, this is just me. So there's nothing that I have to really change or adjust, because I just have to find the person that does like me. But when somebody is able to they loved the way they were able to make me change myself for them to be around. So I remember I was going to this therapist at this time and telling the therapist about how devastated that I felt. And the therapist was just like, you know what, Mark, now's the time to focus on you. Focus on building yourself back up. Focus on discovering what you like, the things that you have as goals, the things that you want from the people who you want to bring into your life, into your circle. And once you start putting the emphasis on you, then you're going to be the one who is choosing the standard and quality of the person that you bring. The people are going to gravitate towards you, and you're going to be able to say, this is what I like, this is what I don't like, this is what I need, this is what I don't need, etc. And at the time, when that therapist was telling me that, I was really thinking to myself, what can I do or say to get this particular person back? But because they didn't come back, and because they didn't answer my phone calls and the texts and all that stuff, I said I have no choice but to put myself together and figure out who I am, where I go from here. And in the process of that, I really did find myself. And then after that, that same person came back around. Mark, I've seen your growth. Mark, I am so impressed with the way that you have changed as a person, and this is the person that I wanted to see when I left you. And I'm so proud of you, and I'm ready to give us another go. And this was about 8 months later. If she had said that 2 months later, even 3 months later, I probably would have come running with open arms. Yes, absolutely. But by the time that she actually came back and told me that, I was already done. I was like, I'm so glad that you feel that way, but now I don't want you anymore. I am a different person, and I realized that I was selling myself short by being in that relationship with you where you didn't accept me as I was, and you were just trying to change, control, manipulate me every step of the way. Now, what I just said does not just apply to relationships. It's something that, if you listen to me talk about work, it also applies there. Because, my work relationship is my longest relationship ever. And I don't mean like one place. I just mean in totality. The longest relationship I've ever had in my life is with various employers put together. Because I started working. Matter of fact, I started working when I was 11. But I started working like on the books when I was 18. I'm 37 now, so we got a pretty long work history lined up here. And every single one of these jobs, except for like 1 or 2 of them, I've always had people telling me, you're not good enough. You've got to do this faster. You've got to do this better. You're not as good as this next person. If you don't do this, you're gonna get fired, blah 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 blah. My early years on the job, what that would make me do was try to change my strategies, flip it up, hustle up, do whatever I had to do to be better for that person who told me that I wasn't good. I was gonna make a whole video about this specific thing actually the other day. I just didn't end up getting around to it. I'm the type of employee that they don't like at this point. Here's why. Because I'm very qualified for the work that I do. Very qualified. Like probably within the top 10 to 15% when it comes to qualifications for the jobs that I've been doing over the past 10 years. Because I've had a lot of experience in a lot of different companies in this field. I'm excellent at it. And they still tell me, you suck, you're not good enough, you're too slow at this, you're not producing this enough, you're not doing enough of this, blah, 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 blah. That's what I'm getting all day, all night. But because I know that I'm doing an excellent job, because I know that I'm a highly qualified, excellent worker. I'm not sitting here like internalizing all those things that I'm saying about myself, that they're saying to me. I'm not internalizing those things for myself, because I know who I am before I clock in. I know who I am while I'm clocked in, and I know who I am after I'm clocked in. So I have found myself saying, especially in these last two jobs, when they come down on me like, you're bad at this, you're bad at that, you're bad at this, you're bad at that, I'm like, if you think that I'm so bad at that, maybe you should just find somebody who you think is better at that. Because trust me, that's a bluff. That's a bluff like 99 times out of 100. It's a bluff for me, I know that much. You're not going to go run over to the great employee store and find 10 of me. You're not going to go to the great employee tree and pick some great employees off the tree. Like, you don't have me. You're going to go through probably another 15 to 20 finding another me. And then you're probably going to mistreat that person too, and they're going to leave too. So, like, hey, y'all are an option. Thank you for being an option for me. The same way you are acting like I'm an option for you, you're actually an option for me. So in summary, don't let, okay, let me circle back a little bit. Don't sit in the boat with no paddle and let the tides determine where that boat is headed. Before you even get in the boat, have a map. Know your sense of direction. Get the paddle. Figure out where you're going, and don't let anything knock you off your path. Don't get into that friendship, relationship, partnership. Don't get into that job. Don't get into whatever it is and come in there as some kind of an empty vessel where the people who are on the outside are the ones who are determining how you feel on the inside. Know who you are before, during, and after. Stay strong in that. You can be the absolute best person that you could possibly be within that realm of who you are, and meet someone who's just not going to like you anyways. You could have an amazing personality that most people like. There's somebody that your personality is going to rub the wrong way. You could be the most talented person at whatever it is. Like, I play music. I could be the most talented musician in the world to a lot of people, but then there's like one or two people that are like, I don't like the type of music you play. I don't like the sound. I don't like your style. You could be a fashionista, that people look at you as a trendsetter. Matter of fact, this is literally me. I am somebody who puts together my fashion, not based on the trends that I see. I don't go on Pinterest. I don't look at fashion walks and shows and figure out what I want to put on based on that. I don't look at what the celebrities are wearing. I'm just like, I think that this is what I like, and I just put it together. There was somebody who said to me one time, when I was wearing something that I really liked to this party, they were like, Mark, you need a stylist. I was like, a stylist? What? A stylist? What are you talking about? I style my own stuff, and I like what I have on. But imagine if I wasn't sure about that, and I went home and I was like, or I felt self-conscious or something, and then I got home and I looked at my outfit and I was like, wow, this thing that I took the time to pick out maybe is whack, because this person told me that I need a stylist. No, they don't appreciate my sense of style. Hey, that's okay. Everything is not for everyone. Just know who you are and what's for you and who's for you. And whoever's there for you, you're not going to have to work for them to be there for you. And that's not to say that you don't work to maintain people in your life or places or things. But what I'm trying to say is there's not like a baseline level of work that you have to accomplish of changing yourself and who you are. I said this to my boss the other day. My boss was having a disagreement with me and said, "Mark, do you do anything wrong?" And I said, that's gaslighting at its finest, to be honest with you. That's gaslighting. And I'll tell you why that's gaslighting. Because I am not somebody who's ever in my life had a problem with admitting when I do something wrong. I know plenty of people who do have issues with that. They're never going to say they did anything wrong. My dad was one of them. I can recall 2 apologies that he ever gave me in his life. I mean, it's possible that he might have given me more, but they were few and far between. The fact that I can remember so distinctly the 2 that he gave me and what they were for. I've apologized to a lot of people over the course of my life. Even sometimes when I don't even fully feel that I'm wrong, but I've just thought overall about it and said this is not worth the fight. So I apologize for that. So I said I do plenty of things wrong. But here's the thing about it. This is not even about that. You're trying to deflect this topic. I didn't say that, but I was thinking to myself, you're trying to deflect this topic by saying, "Mark, do you do anything wrong?" Yeah, I mean, there's things that I do wrong. There's things that I could do better. There's things that I could improve on. But in this thing that we're talking about right now, I am not wrong. In this thing that we are talking about right now, you're wrong. So you're just trying to deflect this and put it on me. Like, instead of you telling me, "Yes, Mark, we were wrong in doing or saying this particular thing that we were having this argument about," like, let's flip this around and push this on to talking about your flaws. So to close out, I'll say it one more time. Don't waste your time being the best peach in the world for somebody who likes plums. To redefine that, or to rephrase that, if somebody likes plums and you're the peach, you're never going to be good enough. So it's on you to just accept that. Don't try to to impress somebody or change yourself for somebody who's not going to like you anyways. Because there's people in this world, no matter who you are, no matter how you speak, no matter how you look, no matter how you dress, no matter how you talk to them, no matter how you treat them, no matter what kind of quality of work you provide, service you provide, no matter how well you do your particular craft, no matter how well you execute at your job, no matter how good you are to them, they're not going to like you anyways. And my whole point of that is, don't waste your time on those people. The people that are meant for you are going to naturally gravitate towards you, and you're not going to have to do anything in order for that to happen. You're not going to have to change yourself. You're not going to have to flip this around. You're not going to have to act like you're something you're not. I'm so big on just being the human that you were put on this earth to be. Just being yourself, loving yourself as is, and only focusing on the people who love you just as you are. So that's my message for this evening. Hope you got something from it. Please like, comment, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. And I like doing these talks. I'm going to do them more often. I'm going to try to do them as often as I can. Never be a plum. Good message. Always love the Mark talks. Okay. So I hope everybody has a good night, and I'll talk to you later.